Hey, good morning. It's Jason with Wolf Overland, and today we are going to Ocala National Forest. And we got all three rigs out here today. We got David's, block the sun here. We got David's GX back here. We got Steven in the Gladiator, and obviously we have my diesel Gladiator. All right, we're on the I-95 rest area. We just stopped. It's about 10 o'clock. And we are back on the road. We got another 4 hours, so we're at the meetup point. Let's get to it. So this is the AEV lift with the 8100 bypass Blistein shocks. And we are rolling on 37s with the BFG KM3 mud terrains, and I do have some mileage on them, so up with that. But this is a 2022 Jeep Gladiator with the Eco Diesel motor. We're putting around at about 1600 RPM at 71 miles per hour, getting 22.3 miles per gallon at 70 miles an hour on the interstate. I do have a topper on the back with a roof rack. What other vehicle are you going to do that on? On 37s. I mean, that's crazy to me. So all diesel motors for the JL Wrangler and this Gladiator, all of the 3.0 turbo eco diesel motors, all of them, even if you get the Rubicon, have 373 gear sets. My understanding is that all the diesel motors still roll with that because the 373 gearing is a thicker gear and less chance of breakage. And currently we're at a little bit of a descent. We're rolling through Florida right now. If you decrease the speed to 60 miles an hour, you can get probably way better fuel mileage than this. Anyway, just a heads up, please like and subscribe. I'm always posting videos like this, modifications with the diesel, overlanding trips. So we're basically doing a straight shot across I-26 to I-95 and take I-95 all the way down to Ocala, Florida. Kevin from Florida Overland is going to meet us there and take us on a couple trails, end up at Prairie, Hopkins. Today is supposed to be 75 degrees down there, nice and sunny, no rain. Until tomorrow, probably after we break camp, we're supposed to have rain, and then 50% to 75% chance of rain for the rest of our visit here. So we're gonna get some rain this visit, so we're just gonna play it by ear, have fun. After a long 6-hour drive and many fuel fill-ups, we finally arrive in Florida.
Arrived.
Well, who's this guy up here?
Who is it for? Your dad?
That's Dad's friend. This is Kevin. What up, man? All right, we're here with Kevin from Florida Overland, and we're gonna go run some trails. Probably head to the bombing range, and then we're gonna hit up some sandy trail on the way to Prairie Hopkins. All right, we are at the bombing range. We got, I don't think we've ever been at this one to take the picture here, but this is David's first time. So we got David, myself, Steven with his Red Gladiator, these guys, and Alex with them. And then we got Kevin and his new 4Runner there. We've been to Ocala National Forest 2 other times prior, but you can actually check in on the Jeep Badge of Honor trail for Ocala. There's an actual badge for it. The majority of Ocala National Forest trail systems is tight pinstriping sandy trails, with the exception of the Pipeline Trail, which you'll see later, but it's pretty much wide open sand as far as you can see. The Florida Adventure Trail, otherwise known as the FAT, also runs through Ocala National Forest. The most popular dispersed camping in Ocala is definitely Hopkins Prairie. It is a wooded camping area overlooking one of Florida's natural prairies. It's very pretty and worth a one-night stay.
Dad, we've been to the Cape Pad before. We've been to Florida. I didn't know we've been to Florida again. I'm so glad we're here. We stopped. Yeah. Woo! I got open my window down.
Hold on, Bounce.
People keep widening the trail and going through the prairie. And that is only a matter of time before this trail closed off to the public.
Yeah, I've noticed it's a lot wider than what it was last year even.
If you go on Google Maps and you go back through the years, you see where people just straight drive into the prairie like it's a mud hole now.
Hey, this looks like an island. I didn't know Florida looks like an island.
We might have the whole prairie to ourselves. Most of the people that come out here are fair weather campers, so if there's any chance of rain, they usually all back out.
Copy. I don't mind the rain that much, but it's like when it's, single digits and stuff, that's when it stinks. We ended up setting up before it got dark and actually got a nice spot, and ended up cooking dinner and having a nice, relaxing night. Temperatures were perfect. Good morning. So before I pack all this up, I want to show you guys the setup. I can get this packed up probably within 20 minutes. So, perfect for 2 people, this tent. And then in here, let me flip this around. And then you have this shower awning for showers, but we typically use it for changing or going number 2. Tent's perfect for 2 people. This ladder kind of blocks access to the power cubby, but I normally turn the lights on and everything that I need first. Then we got the 270 awning, which does have LED poles. I only leave one on at night, but it's big enough to...
We got me.
Yeah, James.
Eating breakfast.
Complaining about a woodpecker. But It perfectly fits like that. Here, a woodpecker out there. Good morning, YouTube. Got a mosquito bite right in the middle of my forehead. So, we are on day 2 of our... I guess we missed that turn. Anyway, we are on day 2 of our Ocala trip. And, so Kevin from Florida Overland is leading the trip here. We just had breakfast at, it was Corner Square. Yeah, Corner Square, I believe. But it was really good, home cooked, like an old diner type style. My buddy Hector joined us in his Jeep Gladiator. He's somewhere behind us. So we are 5 rigs deep. And we are headed to a little loop around Ocala National Forest, leaded by Kevin. So let's see how this goes. Forest Road 62. The ferry is closed, it says. Florida Black Bear Scenic Highway. See the bears out there, James? There's a lot of black bears out here.
Oh, black bears?
Yeah. One thing I was excited to try out on this trip was my new AEV 8100 bypass shocks. So I originally had the 5100 bypass shocks, which is just a single tube that came with the AEV lift kit. But I since then upgraded to the bypass shock, which is made by Blitzstein, but AEV tunes it, so there's no adjustability to it. But it's a bypass shock that is a lot more money, but it is well worth it. The Jeep drives and rides completely different than how it did before. Now, don't get me wrong, the 5100 is a great shock, but with the added weight of the Overland equipment and all the stuff we bring, and roads like this or high-speed runs, there's no shock fade at all, and it just handles the weight way better. You lost your belly pan there, Kevin. You're dragging. So is the Toyotas.
Go to the front of his passenger and look underneath the
seat. Yeah, he the front 2 bolts probably rattled loose, fell out, and then the whole metal skid plate just went under.
Water got on the top of it and just pulled it down. It's one of those things. It's got so many miles and so many owners. There's no telling.
Yeah.
There's no telling what's.
So Ocala National Forest does lots of prescribed burns. Not only does it promote new growth, but it also prevents wildfires from, taking out entire neighborhoods. David, you never washed the back of your Lexus since we put that lift kit on because there's still all our writing on the back.
Yep, you're riding and my daughter's riding in fact. I know that she said something about 37s on it. Yeah, the mini Land Cruiser, it needs 37. I need to make it skinnier is what I need to do.
That was fun.
Yeah, the Gladiator has some torque.
Yeah, when it was still on 33s, like it would break traction all the time, but 37s is a little harder. These Toyotas can't hang with the Jeeps, I guess.
This is my fault. This is nothing more than my fault. I love these in
I know, I gotta give you a hard time though.
Yeah. It's not that bad. Yeah. But up like St. August.
After completing this section, we stopped and caught up for a little bit. Then it was on to another section of trail that ended up giving us some pretty nasty pinstripes, which is Ocala is known for. There ain't those pinstripes.
That's funny, me and Alex were just talking about you, David. I know you take this trail. It's killing me back here. I would think it's better, but I've never been on the trail before. They were parked over here by the springs. Yeah, they probably moved down to the boat ramp down here. So right here off to the right, there's a springs that people swim in.
That duck has a leash on it.
I just saw that. But this is only a week's gathering. Usually they stay for 14 days, so about 2 weeks.
So apparently some hippie group called the Rainbow People were staying here at Ocala for the week or 2 weeks, and from what the locals said, the area was getting really, really trashed. I could see why. But the pet duck that was on a dog leash took the cake, for sure.
I'm surprised they even picked it up. Usually it's just scattered through the woods, but I'm sure someone got onto them or something. Looks like we've been in that trail before. You probably have. Never been down this trail. Yeah, this direction right here on 25, that's where Hopkins Prairie is. Yeah, I know.
I have that trail labeled Pinstripe Road.
Oh, I mean, we can go back if you want. Looks like they mowed it.
Yeah, that's the one Satish and I did. I remember it was pretty bad.
I don't mind turning around. I'm good to go, so unless everyone wants to turn around, we can keep going.
So the first year we came down to Ocala, myself, Satish, and Obop went down this trail. And this was the worst pinstripe trail that you could imagine.
I mean, it was so bad, Satish was worried about the trees coming through his soft top of his Jeep. But luckily, it was maintained and cut back a whole lot, so it wasn't that bad. So we headed on up through that trail, took another side trail around, and started looking for somewhere to have lunch. But you can't get too far in Ocala National Forest without running into other overlanders, whether it be Toyotas or Jeeps. And, of course, everyone knows Kevin from Florida Overland. Kevin showed us a primitive campsite right here that was part of a controlled burn a couple of years back. So the greenery was just showing through the black. It looked really cool. So we decided to stop here, have lunch, and it started to rain. So we said farewell to Kevin. He headed on home, and we decided to head out and run the Pipeline Trail, which is one of my favorite trails out here in Ocala. Pretty much as far as you can see is sandy, straight, flat plains. So you can really get, some limited speed going on here. And it's just fun, which is probably why Jeep incorporated this into the Jeep Badge of Honor trail system, because it's just controlled, sandy, shallow sand fun, and really gets you to know your Jeep and how it acts in sand. So this is the part of Ocala that I really wanted to try out my new AEV 8100 bypass shocks. Last time I was here, I had the stock AEV Blistine 5100 shocks, which were the single monotube shocks. They were 46 millimeters, AEV tuned, but made by Blistine. They advertise a slightly sportier but more controlled feeling. I can confirm that they excelled for a daily driver and a rock crawling. They didn't do too good handling the overland weight, as good as they could. And the high-speed trails like this, they would just heat soak and then just become way too bouncy. If you did any kind of time going quick on a trail like this, they would more or less just overheat. As with any shock, I mean, the stock Rubicon shocks were horrible. For reference, I have the AV lift kit with the blue HD high capacity AV springs on my 2022 diesel Gladiator, rooftop tent, canopy, drawer system, fridge, all the Overland weight, winch. And if you already have this standard AV lift kit installed, you can upgrade to the 8100 reservoir shocks for about $2,000. Now that may seem like a lot of money, but you're going from a 46 millimeter shock all the way up to a large bore 66 millimeter shock body. You're also getting higher volume capacity to control all that heat so you don't get the heat soak and the shock fade. They just excel when running rough road surfaces over long distances like the Ocala National Forest. They're also rebuildable. You can get a rebuild kit, do it yourself in your garage. Not only did these new 8100 shocks not show any fading whatsoever from overheating, but in my experience with these shocks in the last year, they are specifically tuned for the high capacity coil springs and the extra weight of an Overland rig. They also excel with the standard capacity springs and when bahaing through terrain such as this. The install was pretty straightforward. I'm working on a video of my install. I just need to finish editing it. But I would jump straight to the 8100 shock, especially if you're doing an Overland build, because they control the weight perfectly. If I were to do it all again, I'd do it right like this the first time. I get asked a lot, why didn't I buy the regular 8100s just from Blistine? Because they are adjustable, which I respond with, my rig pretty much stays loaded at all times, and the shocks being tuned by AV, they have it dialed in pretty close to perfect. So there's no trial and error of trying to get the perfect ride dialed in on your own rig. It's already there. AV already did it. So you just bolt these shocks in and just drive it. I'm not sponsored by AV at all. I'm just a huge fan of the quality and the thought that goes into their products. And if you've never driven on sand like this with your Jeep, you want to have it in 4-wheel high, and you want to have the off-road plus mode on. This allows the engine and the transmission to utilize the torque band better for high-speed sandy roads like this, or gravel. Once you get from the main road to the actual pipeline access right here, it's a good place to turn around. But I wanted to go check out a new section that I found on the map. So we headed on for another probably 40 minutes down the pipeline trail. Ocala really has a lot to explore and offer, from prairies to dense pinstriping trails to high-speed sandy runs to wooded areas to water crossings to being integrated into the Florida Adventure Trail, aka the FAT. There's just so much to explore and do out here. For the state of Florida, it's a really nice place to come to.
I don't know if this is a hiking trail. It looks like they have it blocked off, but I want to walk over here and see it real quick.
This area, we hiked down there. It was called Blue Sink. It was a royal blue colored spring that was really out here in the middle of nowhere. But there were a couple people set up camp down in there, so we decided not to take video and just let them be. I just wanted to see where it was. From there, we decided to head back and try to find camp for the night. A big rainstorm was headed in, so we wanted to set up the awnings and get comfy. We decided to head back to a place that Kevin picked out for us earlier underneath some Spanish moss. David had some family that lived in the area and wanted to stop by and visit and say hi.
James ate all the steak. Dude. Well, at least we ain't starving, even though it's raining.
David's family members rolled in at dark, and they brought some really cool optics with them. Infrared, and the other one was a night vision version. They explained both different versions of it. They were extremely cool, and I'm glad I got to meet them. But taking those scopes and looking up at the sky, you can see everything from satellites to stars to airplanes. Really cool technology. Dude.
Damn.
After a couple of drinks that night, we woke up to, again, more rain. We packed up, put all the gear away soaking wet, and decided to head on home. David had to divert to go to see some more of his family that lived in the area. So Stephen and I decided to head on out to the gas station to air up. Now, the trails coming in were completely different than they were yesterday. A lot of deep standing water, a lot of mud and sand everywhere from the rain all night. So it definitely was a little bit more of a chore to get out than it was the previous day coming in before all the rain. The rain definitely made it a different landscape compared to yesterday.
Is David with us still?
No, he went on the other way.
Hopefully he makes it out okay.
We all ended up making it out all right. David had a little issue with a wind deflector on his roof rack. But other than that, we all made it home safe. Thanks for watching all the way through. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you next week.